All right, finally made it to Seoul. Super long day. It was like 18 hours of flying. Then we took some trains. I didn't even film that part because that was very complicated and I was trying to figure out where to go. And then we walked up a whole bunch of hills through the maze of downtown Seoul here and sweated our asses off because it's really hot and humid outside. Because it's monsoon season. This is the weather forecast. And that was the last time I recorded myself talking to the camera in Korea because I thought it was awkward. But look at us now. Anyways, so the reason I got to go on this trip to Korea is I was actually on a work trip. And I'm not going to get into that too much because that's not really the point of the video. But I did get to tour a lot of universities and some different labs and see a bunch of cool robots. That was the point of the trip. But when I wasn't working, then I got to explore the country a little bit. I was kind of surprised I didn't have a very big culture shock in Korea. It was definitely a very westernized city, at least where I went to. I was only going to the cities. But some things I noticed were the fashion. Definitely wasn't like this. It was a lot of like grays and blues and muted pastel colors. Then the transportation was great. It was fantastic. They had the bullet trains, they had the crazy Seoul Metro, which was huge. It was like 5 times the size of my local DC Metro. Also the taxis were super cheap. And so that's how I did most of my sightseeing. I would go by taxi and walking. I didn't do any car rentals while I was there. And what was also interesting is Google Maps didn't work there for getting directions. Like you could look stuff up, but it wouldn't give you any walking or driving directions. So they actually have a whole suite of apps called Kakao, and you can do food delivery, you can hail a taxi, and then like your basic map stuff. So that was pretty cool. Now the biggest culture shock was probably the food. We had all the major staples there. We had Korean barbecue, Korean fried chicken, which I thought those were American inventions, but they were alive and well in Korea. Just as good, but very similar actually. It wasn't that different. Then there was a lot of banchan, which is like the small plates. So I had a lot of that, and I didn't know what I was eating all the time. Eventually, I started to miss carbs. Like I didn't have much rice with any of the meals, and there was definitely no bread and stuff like that. Not very many noodles. So very meat and vegetable heavy. Another weird thing that I tried for the first time was abalone, and that kind of just tasted like seafood flavored squish to me, and that was given to me at a work event. So I tried it. It was okay. I don't think I would spend my own money on it, but to each their own. And once I got to Jeju Island, I tried the street food, and I was skeptical about that. I didn't want to get food poisoning or anything. The sanitation looked a little questionable, but that food was awesome. That was the highlight of the trip. I vividly remember these black pork skewers, and I bought them 4 times because they were so good. And I can't talk about food without talking about the alcohol, because the drinking culture is very big in Korea. Now, one of my favorite memories from the trip is my boss and I were chilling in Daejeon, and we got Korean fried chicken for the first time. We opened it up, eating it, and this beautiful sunset, like over the cityscape, popped up. And so I got out my camera to film it a little bit. Then these guys overheard us, and it seemed like they kind of wanted to like practice their English with us. So we were chatting with them, and at one point I was like, "So, like, what's the best bar right here? We kind of want to grab a drink." And they take us to the CU, which is a convenience store. It's like a 7-Eleven over here in America. And they're like, "This is the best bar in Daejeon. This is all you need." I'm like, okay. So we pick up some beer and some soju. We go sit outside, and we're just chatting, drinking. And they actually made us somak, which was cool. That's where you combine the beer with the soju to make somak. They said the ratio is 3/4 light beer. Said their favorite was Budweiser, which I thought was hilarious. And then the soju, 1/4, boom. Then you got somak. That stuff was good. Jeju-do is Korea's largest island off of the southern coast of the country, and it's frequently referred to as the Hawaii of South Korea. And having been to Hawaii myself, both the Big Island and Oahu, and now Jeju, I thought I would chime in and see what I think. Are they really the same? So I can definitely see why it would be compared, especially to the Big Island, because there's a giant volcano in the middle of the island, Mount Hallasan. That's also the tallest mountain in South Korea. Pretty cool. What I did have time for was Seoul Ilchulbong. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that, but that's a cool dormant cone volcano, arpeggio, off on the east coast of the island, and you can see some other small islands from the top of it. You climb some staircases, and then there's beautiful views at the top. Also scattered all over the island is ancient remains of volcanic activity. So there's cool hexagonal basalt columns dotted along some of the cliffy coasts. There's some black sand beaches that you can dip your toes in. And then one of the cooler things is there's a lava tube that you can actually walk inside. And they claim it's the longest one, but I looked it up and it didn't even make the list on Wikipedia. So that might be fake news, I don't know. Then there's beautiful beaches scattered all over the island. Some of them you can swim in, some of them they're just kind of there to enjoy. What I thought was interesting was they were all very shallow, the ones you swim in. So like you could walk 300 feet in and then you're still only to your waist. And they had nice sections blocked off and lifeguards. So it was very safe. And then besides the beaches, there was also a lot of pretty waterfalls scattered around the island. Some you could admire, and then some you could take a cold shower in if you wanted to. And the last thing I'll mention about Jeju is the tangerines and the oranges. These are a huge deal on Jeju. They're everywhere in all the shops, all the markets, and you can get them in all sorts of forms. So you try like juice and candies and slushies and just like eat them whole. So I tried all that. It was really nice. And then I even got a tangerine hat that I wore around for like the last few days of the trip. I thought that was kind of funny. And then the other thing is black pork. So they got these black pigs running around on the island, and that's kind of like a meat delicacy. It doesn't come out black, and it kind of just tastes like normal pork to me. So that wasn't too exciting, but the oranges, definitely try the oranges. So is Jeju the Hawaii of South Korea? I think Jeju's the Jeju of South Korea. Like, there's definitely some similarities, but it's definitely got its own vibe to it, and it's got some unique things that are only there to Jeju. I had a lot of fun exploring it. I explored about like 3/4 of the island, and I did it all via taxi. And it was really cheap. It was cheaper doing it by taxi than it would have been to rent a car, which is pretty wild because it's like a 3-4 hour circumference around the island. And what was also pretty crazy is a lot of the locals I talked to in Seoul and Busan and Daejeon, they had never been to Jeju before. So that was a pretty unique experience in itself that I had the opportunity to go there. And I recommend it. It was awesome. I would do it again. If you like this video, that's it. I got lots more travel content coming up, so stay tuned. Please give a like and a subscribe if you found any content useful. And in the description, I'm going to put that map I flashed up about like halfway through the video if you want to check out any cool spots in Jeju. All right, bye, thanks.